welcome to New Earth Lifestyles. I'm Janie King. Glad you're with us today. September 4, 2014. Today's a call-in show, and this show is about shifting consciousness of the new Earth, new world consciousness, how life is changing, and giving you, the viewer, an opportunity to look at life from a different perspective, from healing modalities to yoga to natural products, natural health, and helping you to look at life in a way that will help you improve your health, improve your whole outlook on life, and help you to enjoy life, which is why we're here, I believe. And my handy dandy gong is here to remind me to breathe. And that helps me to be here for you, and for myself mostly, and for you, so I can stay grounded and centered. So whenever I gong the gong, that's an opportunity to remember to breathe. The most important and free commodity that we have, the most important tool, is the breath, is oxygen. So I just thought I'd start off today by reminding myself and you that oxygen is a very important healing property for our body that is available 24/7 all of our lives. So thanks for joining me, and I also wanted to thank Manchester TV for this lovely space and the opportunity to present this New Earth Lifestyles to you, and let you know that I do have a YouTube channel. You can Google New Earth Lifestyles if you wanted to look back at any of my past shows from 2014, and if you want to watch the show later, it will be up on YouTube in a couple of days. And if you also want to watch it on this channel, it also shows again Saturdays at 10 a.m., Mondays at 5 p.m., and Tuesdays at 10 a.m. So if you have someone that would like to see the show later on, after today, it will be viewed then as well on your regular channel, Channel 23. So today, my guest is Soloman of Truly Natural. Welcome, Saul. I'm glad you're here again.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks for having me back.
You're welcome. Yeah, this is fun. So today you brought some lovely products with you, and you said you can probably heal about anything that's gone wrong with me today. I said, well, I don't want anything to be wrong with me today, but
that's right. I said today would be a good day for you to be sick.
A good day for me to be sick. That's it. Those are the words. And
sorry I said that.
Well, that's all right. It's I don't. That's one of the things I do is not allow words to come into me to change how I feel, and that's a good practice to have. But anyway, you brought your whole not your whole, but part of your medicine chest. So yeah, you got a lot to talk about. So where would you like to begin?
Well, I'm happy to be back to talk about homeopathy, which is a subject near and dear to my heart. I think as we reviewed last time, I've spent my entire working career in the natural product industry, focusing on selling clean personal care products, and many years ago, natural healing products. And many years ago, that meant homeopathic medicines and flower essences. I'm happy that I was able to help bring these products into the marketplace about some 35 years ago, and now they're pretty much mainstream, at least in natural food stores.
Wow.
Any Whole Foods or independent natural food store you go into has a wide array of homeopathic medicines now. And many pharmacies, chain drugstores are carrying some of the basic medicines too.
Excellent.
However, homeopathy is still not a mainstream form of medicine. There's still a rather narrow and limited circle of people who know what it is and are actually using the remedies.
I see.
So
could you just review maybe what it is?
Well, for sure. So I wanted to go into a little bit of the background and how to use some of the remedies. And I'm no longer, it's been a long time since I've been involved in actually selling homeopathic medicines. This is really, nor am I just want to put out, nor am I a practitioner or a doctor. So the information I'm going to be offering today is simply out of my experience and the experience of my family and many other people who I know. And indeed, homeopathic medicines are sold around the world. So this is an international form of medicine, and the country in which it's most popular is actually France.
Interesting.
But it's sold throughout Europe. It's used in Russia. It's widely used in Mexico.
Now, do
And-
physicians in those countries prescribe it more so than in this country?
Well, it depends on what country. In France, up to 40% of the physicians either refer patients to homeopathic doctors or make use of the remedy themselves. So it's quite popular in France. In England, the royal family is treated first by a homeopathic physician.
Well, that's
before
interesting.
they go to a conventional doctor. I was looking forward to learning about the new royal baby, but and what if she was treated, the mom was treated homeopathically and the baby during pregnancy, because that's quite popular and often done to help ease the pains of pregnancy and childbirth.
Sure.
But by and large, most people don't know what homeopathy is or how to use the medicines. There's still a lot of confusion about it because the modern medical system thinks it's hooey. They basically think it's not effective, they don't understand it, and they claim that it's simply a placebo effect, that the medicines only work in our mind because we think they work, the way a placebo works. And that's simply not true. The reason why homeopathic medicines aren't more popular is because there's not a lot of profit margin in them. It really comes down to money, as so many things do. So with that as a little bit of an introduction, I wanted to go a little bit into the history of homeopathy, how it started.
Sure.
And first I'll have a little water. So homeopathy was discovered in the late 1700s by a German physician named Samuel Hahnemann. And Hahnemann was a well-known doctor at the time, but he rejected the practice of medicine after graduating from medical school and practicing for a while, because the medicine of the day in the late 1700s consisted of using heroic drugs that were often toxins like arsenic and belladonna, and doing bloodletting and putting leeches on the body, and he felt that he was violating the first tenet of medicine, which is first, do no harm.
Right.
And he felt these medicines were doing more harm than good. The whole practice of medicine turned him off. So he basically backed off from being a physician, and because he spoke 6 or 7 languages, he focused on translating medical texts. And so he came across a paragraph in one of the medical texts he was translating, and it claimed that quinine was effective for malaria, to treat the symptoms of malaria, because it was very astringent.
And what does astringent mean?
It means it's very bitter.
Bitter, okay.
So that made no sense to him, because there were many other substances in nature that were as astringent or more. So he had a eureka moment. And his eureka moment was to ingest the quinine himself. He thought, well, I wonder why it works. So what he found is that when he ingested the quinine, he started to break out in malaria symptoms.
Wow.
So he posited from this that the quinine worked because it also caused the symptoms. So his theory was a substance that can cause symptoms can also cure them.
Ah.
Sounds like immunization, doesn't it?
Wow, it sure does.
Doesn't it? So he started to conduct tests on other substances in addition to quinine. He tested mercury, he tested arsenic, belladonna, arnica, and he found that in every single case, the symptoms that these substances cured were also ones that they caused. However, he was very concerned about these substances actually causing illness when taken in a gross form. Because if you take belladonna, for instance, in its gross form, you start to develop a sore throat, you get a fever, you get rosy cheeks, and indeed, many, many years ago, women would chew on belladonna berries to give them rosy cheeks,
Oh, really?
not realizing that they were actually poisoning themselves.
Now, belladonna is a
Deadly nightshade.
Oh, it's a
Remember
nightshade.
the deadly nightshade family. So,
Deadly nightshade.
so if you continue to continue to ingest the belladonna, you die.
Wow.
You would die. It's so toxic it would kill you. So Hahnemann's challenge was to create a healing response from the belladonna without having it cause toxic reactions. So he experimented with smaller and smaller and smaller doses of that substance. And he found that he had another eureka moment. He found that simply diluting the substance and thinning it out, at some point it stopped having a healing effect. And like immunizations, they sometimes can cause the illness that they're trying to prevent, which is one of the reasons why so many people are concerned about immunizations these days, because of the toxic reactions that their children can have. So he found that if he diluted the original substance, the belladonna berry, and he shook it, he shook the diluted substance, and he repeated that process a number of times, he found that the healing properties of the substance maintained in the tincture, in the dilution, without any toxic properties.
Interesting.
So what he basically discovered was the energetic healing properties of matter. He found a way to release the energetic healing properties of matter by diluting them and shaking them. So here's why modern medicine thinks this is hooey. So let's take an example. Let's take a product like arnica, and that's an arnica gel.
Okay.
So the way you prepare the medicine is to prepare a tincture from an herb. Homeopathic medicines are made from animal, vegetable, plant, insect kingdom, marine life. They're made from all kinds of interesting substances. Most of them come from the plant world. So arnica is a wild mountain daisy. It grows at the base of mountains. And interestingly, goats who happen to fall, which does happen with goats now and then, know to go to the base of the mountain and munch on the arnica flowers because they know it's going to heal them. It's going to heal their bruises.
That's interesting. So I always wondered about animals and how they take care of themselves, and
Intuition.
And so they know what plants to eat when something happens.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, but if they ate a lot of the arnica flower, if they ate too much of it, it would kill them because arnica is actually a deadly poison.
Ah.
So if a person is to munch on an arnica flower, what would happen is they would start to feel like they were bruised. They'd start to feel like the more they took, they'd feel like they were beaten with a baseball bat. They would start to hemorrhage internally, and they would die. Okay? But when you prepare the arnica homeopathically, it has no toxic effect, and it elicits a healing response in the body.
Wow.
So the way it works is you prepare a tincture of the flower, which is simply the flower, the active ingredients of the flower, placed in alcohol, and you make a tincture out of that.
So you let it set for a certain
You let
amount
it
of
sit
time.
for a certain amount of time.
And the alcohol draws out of the flower into the constituents into the alcohol.
Exactly. So then you have an arnica tincture.
Okay.
And if you were to ingest that arnica tincture, it would basically cause all these symptoms and eventually would kill you. So what Hahnemann did is he took one part of that arnica tincture and he diluted it in 9 parts of water. And then he took that and he shook it. So what you have then is a 1x potency, meaning you have 1 part of the arnica tincture in 10 parts of water. Okay? Then he took 1 drop of that and mixed it again in 9 parts of water and shook it. Then you have a 2x potency, which means you have 1 part in 100 parts of water, and so on. When you've done that 6 times, you have a 6x potency, which means you have 1 part of the original substance left in 1,000,000 parts of water. So that's a 6x potency, is 1 part in 1,000,000.
Wow. Almost nothing.
Almost nothing. So, so many homeopathic medicines are diluted way beyond that. I mean, a typical remedy would be a 30x remedy.
Wow.
That means that the dilution is 1 with 30 zeros after it. And there's something in physics called Avogadro's law that states that any substance diluted beyond 1 to the 28th power, 1 with 28 zeros after it, theoretically has no more molecules of the original substance left. So most of the products that are on the table here are diluted beyond that point. So this is where modern medicine has trouble wrapping its mind around homeopathy and why it works. Because if the medicines are so highly diluted, there's literally no original substance left. Then how does it work?
How does it work?
How does it work? So that explains a little bit about how the remedies are made.
Right.
How they work. This is the only form of medicine. Homeopathy is the only form of medicine that directly stimulates the body's immune system to do its job.
Really? Well, let's have a gong on that.
Absolutely.
Directly stimulates the body's immune system to respond.
So,
wow.
If you think about it, the greatest healing power that we know of is our immune system.
Yes. It was created to heal us.
That's right, to keep us in balance. So homeopathy basically looks at illness in 2 different categories. There's acute illness and there's chronic illness. So an acute illness is something that's self-limiting and it gets better if you do nothing, like a cut or a bruise, a burn. Eventually it'll get better if you do nothing. Chronic illnesses are things like arthritis, fibromyalgia, cancer, heart disease, things that normally get worse. There's a progression to them, and it's not a good one. So what we're talking about today with homeopathy is mainly using the remedies for acute reasons, for home health care. And in that region, there's nothing that works the way these do to stimulate the immune system. I mean, it's the only form of medicine that recognizes that the healing response in our body must be supported and not suppressed. So think of homeopathy. Homeopathy is Latin for similar suffering. So the same substance that can cause symptoms in a person can also heal them. So it's a system of medicine that has to do with similar suffering.
Similar, can you say
as
that?
Opposed to allopathy, which is the conventional form of medicine that we practice today. And allopathy treats symptoms as if they are the illness themselves, and you want to suppress them. So, in homeopathy, from a homeopathic standpoint, if you have a fever, it should be celebrated. It's a sign.
Should be celebrated.
It's a sign that the body's immune system has jumped into action. It's creating a feverish condition in the body. It's raised the temperature so it can kill the invading microorganisms.
Right.
So using common sense up to a certain point, a fever is actually a sign that the body's immune system is working to heal itself.
Right. So it's a good sign.
It's a good sign.
It's a sign that something's up and your body's kicking in gear and doing what it needs to do.
But because of modern medicine's proclivity to look at symptoms as being bad, and it's not as a sign that the body is actually trying to heal itself, conventional medicine will often say, take an aspirin to get your fever down, or take an antibiotic or an antiviral medication, and when it's actually the worst thing that you could do. We're not letting the body heal itself. Everybody's in a hurry. We want to get instant results. Well, it doesn't happen instantly sometimes. Sometimes it takes a while. With conventional medicines, we'll look at those same symptoms and suppress them. And when you suppress those symptoms, they're driven deeper into the body.
Right.
So fever is one example. Let it run its course. Normally, if fever gets to 104, 105, use common sense, and then you need to do something to get it down. But low fevers, low-grade fevers, and that's most of what kids suffer from when they're growing up, it's essential to let their bodies and their immune systems develop properly.
To let the fever, as long as it doesn't get over, what, 101 or something? Or
103 normally.
103,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Okay, and so you'd kind of let it run its course?
I would. Yep. And frankly, in some ways, I mean, the higher the fever, it's a sign that the immune system is really strong.
Well, then there's a lot of those people that think that it's going to cause something else in the body.
Exactly. It's fear. It's all fear-based. And the other part of it is we're not recognizing what symptoms are. We're treating symptoms as the enemy. So if you suffer from allergies, for instance, and you've got, running nose, running eyes, stuffiness, congestion, conventional medicine is simply antihistamines. It's medicines to dry you out. Now, your body is creating all of these substances that are irritating you because it's in response to substances that are coming into your body that are causing the allergic reaction. So homeopathic medicines actually treat those allergies with substances that will cause those same symptoms. Okay, so for instance, here's a pet allergy remedy, combination remedy that works like a charm if you have pet allergies.
Oh, I see. So if you're allergic to a horse or a dog,
yep,
you would take this homeopathic.
Yep, that can be very helpful. So
a pet allergy, and so what it's doing is it's partnering. You could say partnering with the symptom to kind of push it along faster to get it out of your body.
Exactly, it works more quickly. So conventional medicine says there's no cure for the common cold. Isn't that interesting? Homeopathy has literally hundreds of different remedies for the common cold.
Wow, well, let's go on to that one.
Yep.
Hundreds of remedies.
Well, it depends on everybody gets a cold a different way.
Yeah.
Some people get it in their throat.
Right.
Some people get it in their chest. So if you pay attention to your symptoms and you take the appropriate remedy right at the beginning of the symptoms, it stimulates your body to knock it out.
Right.
So belladonna, going back to belladonna is a wonderful remedy for sore throats.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because in its gross form, it causes heat and soreness in the throat. So in a homeopathic form, normally a couple of doses, if you've got a tickle in your throat, and if I'm going to get a cold, that's normally where it starts for me.
Yeah, that's
normally
where it starts for me, too.
A couple of hits of belladonna, and it's gone away, and it never develops into something worse.
Now, when you say a couple of hits of belladonna, those tablets or a tincture, or how?
Well,
does
they're all
it come?
different. They're all different formats of homeopathic medicines. I mean, I brought a couple here today, and we can go through that. But most of them are tablets. They're pill forms in different sizes and shapes, and you just pop a couple of pills under your tongue.
Okay.
And
let them dissolve under your tongue.
Let them dissolve, and so there's so many important homeopathic remedies that a person can use at home for a wide range of acute conditions. I mean, arnica for bruises is by far the most popular homeopathic medicine. And by the way, there are over 3,000 different homeopathic medicines.
3,000? Wow.
So it becomes a challenge sometimes to how do you choose them.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get ahead of myself, though. I left my notes at home, as I mentioned earlier, so I'm trying to keep this
you're doing a good job,
keep it a little logical. So I wanted to go back to Hahnemann's, back in the late 1700s, when he found this method of proving the properties of a substance by ingesting them himself. This was a very exciting time.
I was just going to ask you that. How did he prove them? By doing it himself?
So what happened is he had a wide circle of medical students and other doctors and who were also disenchanted with the medicine of the day, and he conscripted them on this journey to work with him. So he would give all of them the same dose of arnica or belladonna or mercury in its gross form, and asked them to continue taking it until they started to show symptoms. And then he wanted them to write down the symptoms in a book. And it turned out that they all had exactly the same symptoms.
Every time they took the same
every time.
the same
So
homeopathic.
And every time they took the gross substance.
I'm sorry, the gross substance,
Right,
which
in
is
its gross form,
gross
whatever
form.
it was, animal, mineral, vegetable,
So it's sort
flour.
of like 100%.
So that procedure in which multiple people test the same substance to see what symptoms it causes are called provings.
Provings.
So the provings are what's in this book, which you call the Bible.
Looks like a Bible.
This is the homeopathic materia medica.
Ah,
So the materia medica, or materials of medicine, lists 3,000 remedies. And
wow, they're all in this
they're all in
Materia
that
Medica
book.
Bible?
Yep, they're all in that Bible. And those symptoms are the same symptoms that those substances will cure. Okay?
Interesting.
So homeopathy is a science. It's a scientific form of medicine. You know, once you realize the science behind it, there's nothing left to chance here.
Mm-hmm.
If a substance will cause symptoms in a healthy person and you prepare it specifically as a homeopathic medicine, it will stimulate your immune system to help cure those symptoms much more quickly and fully. Okay,
Fully.
And with no side effects. That deserves another gong. There are no side effects. So
no side effects in homeopathy. We got 2 gongs. No side effects in homeopathy. Woohoo!
So
3 gongs.
I think homeopathy is the perfect form of medicine.
I do too.
It's symptom specific. It works. There are no side effects. 0. Because, as we've mentioned, basically we're talking about energetic medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they're inexpensive.
Right. Maybe you can talk a little more about the energetic piece.
So, okay, we can talk about that. So, when we talk about the immune system,
Mm-hmm.
we're really talking about a system of intelligence that is built into our body.
Right.
Maybe look at it as the software.
Okay.
We can't point to any one organ in our body and say, okay, the immune system resides there.
That's correct. That's
but
true.
we know
Mm-hmm.
that when we cut our hand, if we do nothing, the body is going to figure out how to heal it.
Right.
And that's our immune system. So we know that our body possesses the ability to heal itself
Yes.
in miraculous ways, in powerful ways.
Mm-hmm.
And what the medicines do, because they are so highly diluted, they capture the healing energy from each original substance that they're made of and store it within the water or the alcohol that they're originally diluted in, waiting to be released when you pop those little pills in your mouth.
Wow. I've heard it been described sort of like a fingerprint, energetic fingerprint.
A fingerprint, or like your gong. I mean, almost like if you hit the right musical note,
Uh-huh.
it vibrates within your body. I mean, there are, as scientific as homeopathy is, I dare say there's still, I mean, the greatest expert in the world on homeopathy is still, I think, amazed by the healing properties of the medicines and still wonders at their action.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, it's not something that we can see with our eyes,
Right.
but it's something that we can feel.
Right.
So-
It works.
It works. I mean, there's so much,
And-
there's over 250 years of empirical evidence that these remedies work. And if they
Right.
didn't work, people wouldn't be stupid enough to continue using them.
Right. Right. And we really don't know how electricity works. I mean, we don't know what electricity is or energy. I
Exactly
mean, they say
right.
what it does.
That's right.
But we really can't define it. We can't put our finger on it. And so it sounds similar.
It is similar. I mean, there's so many mysteries in this world. We can observe their actions. Like
Right.
electricity is the vibration of electrons. Well, what does that mean?
Right. How do
We
they go
don't-
from here to there?
Right. We don't understand gravity. We don't understand magnetism. There are a lot of things we don't understand, but we observe their actions.
Exactly, yeah.
So the hubris of modern medicine is its conclusion that that this stuff doesn't work because it's so highly diluted. Basically, modern medicine does not recognize energetic medicine.
Basically,
it
that's
says
true.
if you want to believe in it, go ahead, but you're wasting your time. And the other thing that they're concerned about is if you take a homeopathic medicine and it doesn't work, you make it worse. You may be threatening your health. Well, it doesn't work that way.
No.
It really doesn't work that way. So homeopathic medicines are safe, they're effective, they have no side effects, and they're inexpensive. They are the perfect form of home medicine for simple, acute conditions. So not just for bruises, arnica, but also
Like you said, the common cold.
well, the common cold. Well, we live out in the country. So, I mean,
Right.
everyone has been stung by a bee, or most people have been stung by a bee. I've had the privilege many times, living out in the country and liking the garden. When it happens, I just run into the house and I take a dose of Apis mellifica. Apis mellifica is made from a honeybee.
Really? Huh.
And, I mean, it's, you can watch the bee sting start to subside. You can feel the pain go away. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
There's a remedy called hypericum, which is made from St. John's wort.
Okay.
And it is another incredible home remedy for injuries to nerves, to parts of the body that are rich in nerve endings. So you know how much it hurts when you stub your fingertip, or your toe.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's because
it's
those areas are
excruciating.
so rich in nerve endings.
I see.
Um,
And the St. John's wort is what we call a
Hypericum.
weed,
that's right.
but it's a flower, a wild flower
It's a wildflower.
that can be harvested.
And I don't know how many times I've taken that remedy, and it's just, the pain goes away instantly.
Wow.
I mean, instantly. So we're not talking, when you take these remedies, it's not something you have to guess it's going to work. If you take the right remedy, it works, and it works quickly. I, many years ago, did a presentation in front of a bunch of pharmacists on a sinusitis homeopathic remedy, and they were very skeptical. And one of the salesmen in the crowd said, my symptoms are so bad, he said, I can't tell you, I'm suffering from sinus headaches, and do you have anything? So I gave him a remedy. A half hour later, he came back, and it was like, I don't know what this stuff is, but it took my symptoms away. So
What's going on that? It works.
it works. So just to go back to, a couple of other points I want to make about the early days of homeopathy. The first homeopathic medical association was for homeopaths in the United States. And this was in the early 1800s. It was the American Institute of Homeopathy.
Okay.
Based on Hahnemann's work, homeopathy became very popular in the early 1800s. There were dozens of homeopathic medical schools and hospitals
Really? Wow.
in the United States. It was the preeminent form of medicine back then because it worked, and there were lots of infectious diseases like whooping cough and cholera and other epidemics like that homeopathy was very effective in treating. So it became very, very popular. And indeed, there are hospitals named after Hahnemann all over the country. Hahnemann Hospital. Nobody knows who he is.
Wow.
The only statue of a physician in Washington, D.C. is of Samuel Hahnemann,
Really?
and no one knows who he is.
Wow.
So
Well, that's
back in the middle of the 1800s, I'm sorry, in the early 1900s, when homeopathy was really popular here in the United States, the conventional drug manufacturing institutions started to come out with all these synthetic drugs that were easy to administer and were very effective at suppressing symptoms. Out of that was born the AMA, the American Medical Association. The American Medical Association and the powers that be, which were associated with these drug companies, were threatened by homeopathy because there was no money in it.
right.
Homeopathy is essentially medicine of the people.
Medicine of the people, and it's made from the earth.
That's right.
Everything comes of the
Everything
earth.
is natural. Everything is made from a natural earth substance. So they did everything they could to suppress the AIH and homeopathic doctors. If you wanted to become a member of the American Medical Association and you were a doctor accredited by them, they would not let you refer patients to homeopaths. So basically, through the drug industry and the AMA, they did a really good job of suppressing homeopathy in the United States. So now there are no homeopathic medical schools in the United States. The Hahnemann hospitals remain, but
And so it's actually, is it really against the law, or is it something that Is it even allowed in the United States to study homeopathy?
Oh, absolutely. There are many homeopathic schools, but
Oh,
there's
there
no.
are?
Yes, there are many homeopathic schools. There's John Bastyr College. You can be accredited to be a homeopath, and indeed there are quite a few homeopathic MDs.
Oh, there are.
Oh, yes. I mean, for years we went to one in Boston.
Oh.
Richard Moskowitz, a wonderful homeopathic MD. When we found that there were things that we couldn't work on ourselves at home. So that goes back to the definition of the differences between the two types of illness, acute and chronic. So
Right.
these remedies are all for acute home care,
Acute home care meaning things
colds,
yeah.
flus, bruises.
stuff you normally would
Yep.
feel yourself.
Yep.
Or that the body is.
But if you have something serious, more serious illness, you want to go to a homeopathic doctor, and they're around. They're easy to find, and they deal with medicines that are actually even more highly diluted than the ones that we use for daily care.
I see.
So,
Do they formulate their own, or
no, they usually they buy them from homeopathic manufacturers.
They
So
do.
there are homeopathic manufacturers in various parts of the country that
In
are
the
all
United
regulated
States?
by the FDA.
oh, really?
Yep, and the FDA has approved these as medicines for over-the-counter sale. So
Okay.
these carry a drug number on them.
Oh, they do.
The FDA doesn't really understand homeopathy. It simply it looks at them as placebos,
It
and
just
it
says
thinks
there's
it's not
nothing.
doing any harm. You want to throw your money away on them, fine.
Mm-hmm.
So they allow them because of that.
Right.
In the meantime, millions of people in the United States and all around the world are benefiting from these substances. So,
Right.
so just to go back to the books a little bit, I know I'm jumping around here, but
That's
this
okay.
is the Materia Medica is the book that lists all of the medicines.
Okay.
Okay. Then there is a book called The Repertory, and the Repertory lists all of the symptoms.
I see.
So,
This is the repertory.
so these are I'm showing these just for reference, not suggesting people go out and get these, but I want you to know what they are.
Well, they're pretty thick.
They're pretty thick. But this is the book that I recommend people consider getting.
Okay.
It's the book that we use at home. It is one of the more popular first books on homeopathy. It really very clearly explains the principles and how to use individual remedies.
Okay.
It's called Everybody's Guide to Homeopathic Medicines. It's really a terrific book to have. You can get it from Amazon or your local bookstore.
Very nice. And does this refer to doctors in the back of the?
No,
No.
no, but there is an organization called the National Center for Homeopathy, and they have a clearinghouse that's available online of physicians, and you can source them from all over the country
I
through
see.
their site,
Great.
National Center for Homeopathy.
So this is what you would want in your home care kit.
That's the book that when I turn people on to homeopathy, I get them that book, and I get them one of these kits. So, if you're going to really get into homeopathy, you want to have a kit, because a kit will contain a basic selection of remedies. This has been there's a few of them out of there.
So
but
these are some kits.
there are
some remedies.
This comes with 28 different remedies.
And it lists everything that's up on the cover. Lists
Yep.
them all.
So this is one kit. This is made by Standard Homeopathics. They're a California manufacturer. They're known for their Highlands line of remedies for
Okay.
children, which are very popular. So this is a great little kit. This is another kit that I love. This is one that we travel with. This is made by Washington Homeopathic Products. This is Washington Homeopathics was based on all the work that going back into the popularity of homeopathy in Washington, D.C. at the turn of the century. And this is a company that actually, you asked a question earlier about how the
little
remedies are
vials.
made. This is a company that actually hand succusses the remedies, whereas the other manufacturers mostly use machines to do the serial dilution and succussion. They do it by hand,
I
which some
see.
people think is better. This is a great little travel kit.
Yeah.
So the remedies come in different sizes.
Yeah, these are kind of tiny little vials, aren't
so
they?
they're really
If you
easy to
open
travel
this up,
with.
You can kind of see these little vials.
So, you wonder about what's the cost to get into homeopathy. I mean,
And it tells you what it is on the side.
yep, these kits are, when you look at these kits, these remedies run about $2 or $3 a bottle, and they, usually one bottle will last for many years.
So
When you
that's
compare that to conventional medicine, I mean, they're an incredible bargain.
So shelf life then has a...
They last forever. There's nothing to go bad.
Oh, wow.
They've unearthed remedies that are 200 years old and they're still effective. So,
wow,
but because
isn't that cool?
it's very, there's nothing to go bad.
Nothing to go bad because it's so diluted.
Well, basically it's just the tincture sprayed onto these pellets, whether they be sugar pellets or lactose pellets. So a kit and a book was a great way to get started. If you don't want to consider using single remedies like arnica and belladonna and hypericum and all the others, and if you're a little lazy and you don't want to study,
like me,
there are combination remedies that are out there. So this is my favorite combination remedy for. I'm sorry, wrong one, for colds. It's called Cold Calm, and it's made by a French manufacturer named Boiron, which happens to be the largest manufacturer in the world. And this is a remedy that combines 6 or 7 different single remedies, each of which addresses specific symptoms. So if you have a cold and you don't want to bother, if you have general cold symptoms and you're not quite sure which symptom is the worst, sore throat, runny nose, or you don't even want to bother thinking about it, you take a couple of pills of Cold Calm because it covers all of those symptoms and it will normally knock out the cold within a day.
Wow. And so it's for sneezy, runny nose, nasal congestion, minor sore throat.
Yep.
Homeopathic medicine.
Yep.
Non-drowsy and no drug interactions.
No side effects.
No side effects.
No side effects, folks.
Yay! No side effects to homeopathy.
And they're completely safe for children.
And completely safe for children, so you don't have to worry about children getting into your medicine cabinet.
Exactly. So, and the other part of it is when we say they're non-toxic, I mean, you could ingest an entire bottle of pills and nothing's going to happen.
Isn't that interesting? So there's some type of energetic
It's
knowing.
It's like a tuning fork.
Right.
Think of it like a tuning fork.
Okay.
If you expose your body to the right vibrations from a specific remedy, that vibration will stimulate your immune system in a specific way to heal those symptoms.
Wow.
So think of it like a tuning fork.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Because each one of these remedies has a different vibration on the
different
energetic level.
vibration. That makes much more sense to remember. So it's vibrating with whatever is in your body, in your immune system, to help it stimulate your immune system.
You're waking up your immune system.
You're
saying, okay, immune system, wake up. You're being, I mean, we're all exposed to so many environmental toxins and pressures. None of our immune systems are working 100%. You know, I mean, even though we live in the country and we eat organic foods, we're all compromised.
Right.
We all need
don't
a
know
little
what's
help.
coming out of the sky, in the rain, in the air.
We all need a little help. And so think of homeopathy as assistance for our immune system. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It assists and strengthens our immune system in very specific ways to complete the healing process quickly.
Great.
So, this, I also want to call attention to this wonderful remedy because we're coming on to that season.
Right.
This is one of those hard to pronounce names. It's called Oscillococcinum. And this is from the same company, Boiron, that makes Cold Calm. This is the most amazing flu remedy.
Wow.
This is after arnica, probably the most popular homeopathic product in the world.
Right. I've used that before.
We all get flus.
We do.
And this remedy is amazing if you take it, especially at the onset of symptoms.
Yeah, that's the key.
That's the key. It's the key with all homeopathic medicines is pay attention to your symptoms. As soon as you start to feel them, take the remedy, the appropriate remedy, and chances are it'll be knocked out in 24 hours.
And that's the key, self-care, and it's almost like self-love, is caring about yourself enough to pay attention to your body, so when the symptom comes here, and that's what I do when I get a sore throat, that's a symptom immediately for me to make some changes or pay attention to get one of these nice homeopathics.
Take the Cold Calm or take belladonna. You know, and the nice thing about these too is you can experiment. So if you take belladonna and maybe it doesn't work, you look in the book and you say, oh, well, maybe this other remedy will work. You can try it if it's in your kit, and if it works, now you'll know for next time. Right.
And there are no side effects. So if you take something, if it doesn't do the trick, you can take something different, and nothing's going to, kick in anything else. No problems.
It's really an amazing form of medicine
It is, very amazing.
that someday I hope everybody treats themselves this way. I brought in a few other things to show. I mean, we're leaving the season now, but this is simply the best topical
sting
remedy. So homeopathic remedies are mainly taken internally in pill form, but they're also topical formulas.
Okay, so this is a topical.
That's a topical. You rub it on, you get bit by a mosquito or a black fly, or you put this on, I mean, it takes the sting away almost instantly.
I have some in my cabinet, but I've never used it.
Great product.
Oh, I have used it, but use it for bee stings more than, didn't even think about the other pesky mosquito bites and black fly bites and any other little net bites.
And then this is Traumeel, as probably some of your folks will know about. This is a very popular topical analgesic
Yes.
for arthritis and muscle soreness. So it's a combination of different ingredients along with arnica, made by a German company, and very, very popular.
Excellent.
And then I wanted to roll out one more item, which I'm very partial to. It's not really widely available yet, but I'm hoping it will be one day. And it is the first homeopathic air freshener.
Wow. Homeopathic air freshener. Let's put this one down here. You can see a little better.
And
wow.
Air fresheners have been one of my pet peeves in the natural product industry because
your pet peeves, why?
Well, not within natural, but just in general, because the air fresheners that we use, Glade and the other stuff, I mean, they're filled with synthetic chemicals.
That's true, and we're breathing them in.
We're breathing them in, and you have no idea what's in those products because the FDA does not require them to list their ingredients.
Really?
Air fresheners are not required to list their ingredients.
Because they're not a medical thing.
And they're not considered to be a personal care product. They're considered to be a household product. And for some reason, and the reason is because the FDA has been paid off by industry folks, just doesn't, just don't need to do it.
They just don't. They don't keep track of what's in those cleaning products, or whatever they call those.
They think, for some reason, the FDA thinks that household products, it's not important for us to know what's in our household products. So,
but it is important. That is very important for us.
Well, they're the most used products. So air fresheners,
cleaning things,
cleaning products, things that you spray on your window, Windex. You have no idea what's in Windex.
No, we don't.
And the same thing is true with synthetic air fresheners. You have no idea what's in them. So Odor-Off was invented by a Pennsylvania farmer, homeopath and herbalist, who experimented for 16 years with different formulas to come up with an odor abatement formula to reduce the flies that were attracted to the manure in his horse barn.
Okay.
And he came up with it.
Wow.
So this product was actually originally developed to reduce the smell of manure piles.
Wow.
What you do is you drill holes in a big manure pile, fresh manure, it stinks to high heaven, you spray this stuff in, the smell goes away.
Wow. And it's homeopathic.
It's homeopathic.
So it doesn't have a fragrance or an odor to itself.
Nothing. So if it works on horse manure, it also works. It works on our poo. So I mean, this is really designed to be used as a bathroom deodorizer.
I see.
And it's unbelievable how effective it is. A couple of spritzes, the odor is gone. But not only does it work on that, it works on cigarette smoke.
Wow.
It works on cat litter box, ammonia odors. It works on I found through experimenting, it works on virtually any biologically generated odor.
Wow. I'm going to have to get some of that.
It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
Cool.
So I'm showing you this just indicates that this is a unique product because there are no other household products like this. I mean, homeopathy really refers to medicines. It's a form of medicine. So this is the first non-medicinal use of a homeopathic product.
Okay, but in effect it sort of is because you're cleaning your air with something, or you're refreshing your air with something that's not toxic.
Yes.
So you're taking care of your health indirectly by keeping odors down in your house in a non-toxic way. And before we get too far, we're running out of time. You were telling me, Saul, that you have a retail location?
I don't.
Oh, you don't. Oh, I thought you did.
No, I don't. I mean, we have an office with samples of products, but we're not
okay.
open to the public. But
I
all
see.
these, I mean, all these products are readily available online or in natural food stores.
Right. Okay.
If anyone wants to address questions to me, I'm happy to put my email out there. It's
Okay.
Sol, SOLTNM @gmail.com. We're coming into wintertime. It's a great time for people to learn some basics. I mean, for $100, you can get into homeopathy. You can have a book and a kit
Right.
that will last you for years.
For years,
And-
and the knowledge of taking care of yourselves with this book or with your learning about them by doing is really empowering for me. From my perspective, anyway, it's empowering for our self-care and actually helps us to be happier people because we're taking care of ourselves on a physical level, and also that can be extended out to your family and to other loved ones. So yeah, so this is a great book, and it would be excellent to get these kits, whichever kit you resonate with. So, wow, this has been so interesting, Saul.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So, any closing thoughts on? I guess the main thing is that you would recommend, as you said, the kit, the homeopathic, the standard homeopathic kit, and this.
Everybody's Guide to Homeopathic Medicines, but just do some. I mean, there are a number of manufacturers. These are just some of my personal recommendations. If this is just a perfect form of medicine for families. If you're a family, you have kids, and you're worried about what to give your children, there's nothing better.
Nothing better.
I mean, one of the more popular remedies is made from chamomile, and it works like a charm on a really irritated, upset child. It's called chamomilla, homeopathic chamomile. But there are wonderful remedies for earaches and teething, and again, you can give it to them without worrying about side effects. It's a really helpful form of medicine for anyone interested in natural healing and not running, and it helps you not to run to the doctor all the time.
Right,
But-
and the expense involved with that, and the expense with medications, especially if you're not insured.
But a lot of it, you put your finger on it because it really does come down to taking responsibility for your health.
Right.
It's easy, do you want to actually look at your symptoms and see if you can deal with them at home in a non-toxic way? Or do you want to run to the doctor and be taking all these heroic drugs that are going to continue to suppress your symptoms?
Right.
So, and that's all a fear-based system. This is a system not based on fear. This is based on clear knowledge that if you take this substance, it's going to stimulate my immune system to heal itself in this specific way. So
Right.
this isn't hit or miss. It's very specific. And that
Excellent, very specific, and it's actually, I'm calling it based in love because it's based on the vibration of the planet. The vibration of the earth is in all of these homeopathic remedies, and that the earth is here to heal us. The earth is here to support us, and so using something that's just innately already here for us. I mean, I'm sure people back before there was even doctors or medications hundreds of years ago, they knew like the animals which plants to eat or how much to eat, or they would be naturally drawn instinctively to these plants.
Yes, it's
or
all a
these
reflection
things.
of that. Yep.
Yeah, it's all a reflection of that. So, wow, so this has been great, Saul. Thank you very much. And again, your email, if someone wants to connect.
It's soltnm@gmail.com.
Okay, great. So I think we'll wrap it up. This was just really a lot of information, and I'm going to get the odor off and maybe some other things. So thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed Saul and all of the information that he brought with him today on homeopathic medicines and helping yourself heal and helping your family to heal naturally with homeopathics. Until the next time and the next show, next Thursday, our show will be Steve Wilson and Betty Connerton, and they'll be talking about their book, The Reluctant Empath. So until then, have a great week, and remember, Your heart knows the way.